Take your hands off the king's horse. The command cut through the royal stable so sharply that Emma Reed froze with one hand against the trembling stallion's neck. Every groom turned toward her. Lord Rowan Hale, master of the royal stables, crossed the aisle with 2 guards behind him. Emma had worked at Blackwood Castle for only 6 weeks, but she already understood the safest rule for an Omega without family, money, or pack protection. Stay useful. Stay invisible. Then thunder screamed. King Adrian Blackwood's prized black stallion had been striking the wall of his stall when Emma rushed inside. Emma had spent most of her childhood around farm horses. She had barely lifted the edge of Thunder's ceremonial blanket when Rowan appeared. I found her alone with him, Caleb Voss said from the doorway. Rowan's 19-year-old assistant wore the green cord issued to senior stable staff around his key ring. Thunder was perfectly calm when I checked him. Emma looked at him. No, he wasn't. Caleb's expression tightened. Excuse me. I heard him kicking before you came into the yard. Rowan pulled back the blanket. A narrow red mark crossed Thunder's side. What did you do? Rowan demanded. Nothing. He was already hurting. And you expect us to believe that? Emma looked past him toward Thunder. Something bothered her more than Rowan's accusation. They were fixed on Caleb. Move. Everyone bowed. His silver-gray eyes moved from Thunder to Rowan and finally to Emma. Explain. Rowan answered first. Your Majesty, this Omega was discovered alone with Thunder. He has a fresh injury. Adrian looked at Emma. Your name? Emma Reed, Your Majesty. Did you hurt him? No, she realized how quickly she had answered and added. Your Majesty. Then why were you touching the injured area? Because Thunder kept looking at it. Caleb gave a quiet laugh. Adrian turned his head. Something amusing? No, Your Majesty. Adrian entered the stall. Thunder knew him well, yet even Adrian's hand on his neck failed to settle him completely. Emma watched the stallion's skin twitch beneath the saddle. Something is still hurting him, she said. Rowan frowned. You were not asked. Adrian ignored him. Where? Emma pointed. Under the girth, I think. Remove the saddle. Rowan hesitated. Perhaps we should wait for Dr. Cole. Adrian looked at him once. Remove it. 2 grooms approached. Thunder recoiled. Wait. A guard stepped in front of her, but Adrian followed her gaze. What do you see? Under the strap. Adrian lifted the girth himself. A thin metal barb had been pushed through the leather so that tightening the saddle drove its point against Thunder's skin. Silence filled the stable. Adrian removed it carefully. This was placed deliberately. Rowan looked immediately at Emma. Then we know what she was doing here. Emma felt the accusation shift beneath her feet. I never touched that strap. Search her room, Rowan said. Adrian's eyes hardened. I give orders in my castle. Rowan bowed. Of course, Your Majesty. Adrian paused, then addressed the guards. Search it. Emma's stomach tightened. She watched Rowan while they waited. He should have been worried about Thunder. 3 silver barbs lay inside, identical to the one from Thunder's saddle. Found beneath her mattress, the guard said. Emma went cold. Those aren't mine. Rowan turned toward Adrian. Your Majesty, there can be little doubt now. There is plenty of doubt, Emma said. Rowan stared at her. Careful. Something inside Emma shifted. Someone put those there. Adrian studied her for a long moment. Until I know who, you will remain in the servants' wing. Emma's face fell. Am I under arrest? No. You are under protection and investigation. It was not freedom, but it was not condemnation either. As the guards escorted her away, Thunder suddenly lowered his head near Caleb's boots. Caleb moved his foot toward it. Adrian saw him. Don't. Caleb stopped. Adrian bent and picked up a broken length of waxed green cord. Emma looked back from the stable door. Every senior stable worker carried that exact cord. Caleb looked at the piece in Adrian's hand, then at Thunder. And for the first time that morning, fear appeared on his face. Adrian did not accuse Caleb. Not yet. The green cord proved only that someone from the senior stable staff had been near Thunder's stall. But Caleb's attempt to cover it with his boot stayed in Adrian's mind. He ordered the stall sealed and every item inside preserved. The barbs frightened her more than Rowan's accusation. Someone had entered her room before Thunder was hurt. Emma heard whispers through the door. Unstable. One servant even claimed Emma had been dismissed from 3 previous estates. Rumor required less evidence than truth. Near sunset, Adrian entered without an escort. Emma stood. Your Majesty. Seat. She remained standing until he took the only chair. Tell me exactly what happened before Rowan entered the stall. Emma described Thunder's kicking, his breathing, the way he kept turning toward his side. Adrian asked about everyone she had seen. Caleb was outside, she said. He carried a blue metal bucket. Why does that matter? It might not. But our feet buckets are gray. Adrian watched her carefully. You notice small things. Emma almost smiled. Did Caleb enter Thunder's stall? I didn't see him do it. Good. Emma looked confused. Good. You told me what you know. Not what you think I want to hear. Adrian leaned forward. Why does Thunder trust you? Does he? He allowed you beside him while injured. He pushed trained grooms away. Emma considered the question. Maybe because I don't approach him when he asks me not to. He asks. Not with words. She demonstrated with her hands. His ears. Usually he has been answering them for several minutes, and they weren't listening. Adrian was silent. Emma worried she had spoken too freely. I'm sorry. For what? Nothing, Your Majesty. Then don't apologize. He stood. You remain here tonight. Her disappointment must have shown. Emma. She looked up. I have not decided you are guilty. Everyone else has. Everyone else is not conducting the investigation. After leaving her, Adrian returned to Thunder. He'll recover, Mason said. But this was designed to cause pain every time the girth tightened. He showed Adrian a faint oily stain on the blanket. There's an herbal carrier here. Probably mixed with a mild irritant. Enough to drug him? No. The barb and paste were not random cruelty. Someone wanted Thunder, visibly distressed. Captain Lucas Grant arrived with the stable ledger. Thunder's equipment had been prepared before dawn by Caleb and inspected by Rowan. Beneath their signatures appeared a third name. Emma Reed. Adrian stared at it. She had never mentioned signing the ledger. Is this yours? Emma needed one glance. No, show me. She opened the wooden box beside her bed and removed her mother's letter. On the back, Emma had once practiced writing her own name. Her real signature curved sharply upward at the final letter. The ledger signature did not. Who has access to your handwriting? Adrian asked. The servant's office has my employment forms. Who works there? Mrs. Bell. Emma hesitated. Rowan has seen me sign supply sheets too. Adrian closed the ledger. Someone had not merely planted physical evidence. A stable boy appeared breathless in the corridor. Your Majesty. Thunder is doing something strange. Adrian and Emma exchanged a look. Come, he said. Your Majesty? She comes with me. At the stable, Thunder was pawing repeatedly at a storage cabinet beside the tack room. Behind several folded blankets sat a blue metal bucket. Emma stopped. That's the one. A thin coating of pale paste remained inside. Adrian turned toward Emma. She was not looking at the bucket. She was watching Thunder. What? He asked. He isn't showing us the bucket. Adrian followed the stallion's gaze. Thunder was staring across the stable at Caleb. He's showing us who carried it. Emma did not claim Thunder had identified Caleb as the person who hurt him. That distinction mattered. He remembers something about Caleb, she told Adrian. That isn't the same as proving what Caleb did. Adrian nodded. Then we test what he remembers. The following morning, Mason recreated Thunder's normal routine without using the damaged equipment. Thunder remained relaxed. Thunder's head rose. Emma stood beside Mason, watching the horse rather than Caleb. Don't make him come closer, she said. Caleb scoffed. He's a royal stallion, not a frightened child. Thunder moved farther away. Emma's eyes narrowed. That voice. Adrian looked at her. What about it? Have Caleb say what he just said again. Caleb stared at her. Why? Please. Adrian gave him a look. Thunder's ears flattened instantly. He knows the voice. Mason nodded slowly. Possible. Horses recognize familiar voices and associate them with prior experiences. Adrian stepped toward Caleb. Where were you at 5:30 on the morning Thunder was injured? Feed room. Lucas opened his notebook. Yesterday you told my guard you were checking the east stalls. Caleb's face changed. I confused the time. And the blue bucket? Not mine. Emma saw you carrying it. Caleb turned on her. She's lying because she needs someone else blamed. Thunder recoiled at the sudden sharpness in his voice. Emma did not. I'm not blaming you, she said. I'm telling them what I saw. Caleb seemed almost more unsettled by her calmness. Your Majesty, this is becoming absurd. We are treating an animal's nervousness as testimony. Emma looked at Rowan. Thunder did too. No pindirs. Mason, she said quietly. Look at his breathing. Mason watched. Thunder's breaths had shortened. Rowan took another step. Thunder's neck stiffened. Interesting, Mason murmured. Rowan heard him. What? Emma answered. He reacts differently to you. Rowan's expression cooled. And what exactly does that prove? Nothing yet. Emma met his eyes. But I'd like to know why. Adrian saw Rowan's jaw tighten. Later, while Thunder rested, Emma explained what she had observed. Caleb makes him want to move away. Rowan makes him freeze. Fear? Adrian asked. Maybe, but different memories can create different reactions. Can you determine which? Not by forcing him. Adrian nodded. Then we don't. Emma glanced at him. Most people here would. You think very little of most people here. Most people here thought I stabbed a horse because someone found metal under my mattress. Adrian accepted that without defense. Fair. The word surprised her enough to make her look directly at him. Caleb claimed Rowan ordered them for tack repairs. Rowan denied it. Why Thunder? The answer came from Emma. She had spent 6 weeks cleaning the stable and had noticed something no ledger showed. Rowan has been documenting every time Thunder startles. Adrian frowned. He is required to record behavioral incidents. Yes, but only Thunder's. She brought him 3 weeks of copied stable notes. Not recorded. Not recorded. Rowan had written half a page about it. He's building a record. Adrian understood. Thunder was scheduled to carry him in the founder's procession in 3 days. Who has Rowan recommended? Lucas checked. Valor. Adrian knew the name. That still doesn't explain the barb. Adrian looked at her. What do you mean? If Rowan only wanted Thunder replaced, he could exaggerate his behavior. Why hurt him? She looked toward the black stallion. Unless replacing him wasn't the whole plan. That evening Emma entered Thunder's stall to change his bedding. Emma crouched. She followed it to a narrow service door leading toward the old carriage house. Thunder refused to cross the doorway. Emma stood beside him, feeling his body tighten. Someone had taken him through there before. And whatever had happened on the other side had taught the king's horse to be afraid. Emma did not lead Thunder through the service door. She stepped away the moment he resisted. If we force him, she told Adrian, we learn nothing except that he can be forced. That sentence stayed with the king. Instead, Lucas searched the old carriage house while Thunder remained safely in his stall. Behind stacked hay bales, guards discovered a dark green stable coat wrapped inside an old blanket. One sleeve carried traces of the same herbal compound found on Thunder's tack. Rowan was summoned. Mine. Stolen weeks ago. You reported it missing? Lucas asked. Yes. The records confirmed that he had. Adrian felt frustration rise. Again, the evidence pointed toward Rowan but stopped just short of proving who had used it. Rowan looked at Emma. Convenient that she led you there. Thunder led us to the door, Emma said. No, Rowan replied. A horse refused to enter a building. You decided what it meant. Emma almost answered then stopped. Rowan was right about one thing. Can the residue tell us anything? Mason examined the sleeve. Possibly. It may have come directly from the original mixture. Rowan folded his arms. Veterinary products are used throughout the stable. Not this one, Mason said. I didn't prescribe it. That changed the room. Someone had brought the compound into the royal stable without veterinary authorization. Emma spent the afternoon with Thunder. Adrian joined her near sunset. "You were right not to push him through the door," he said. "I wasn't protecting the investigation." "I know." Emma brushed loose hair from Thunder's shoulder. "He already had someone decide his fear didn't matter. I wasn't going to do it again." Adrian watched her work. "Is that why he trusts you?" "Maybe." "And why do you trust him?" Emma's hand stopped. "I didn't say I did. You keep listening to him." "Listening isn't the same as trusting blindly." She glanced at Adrian. "You should understand that." Adrian almost smiled. "Are we still discussing the horse?" Emma realized what she had implied. The amounts increased whenever Rowan submitted negative reports about Thunder. "Still not enough," she said. "You are arguing in his defense?" "No. If we decide Rowan is guilty before we understand the plan, we're doing to him what everyone did to me." Adrian looked at her for a long moment. "Then what are we missing?" Emma returned to Thunder's behavior. Caleb caused avoidance. Rowan caused stillness. The carriage house scent caused fear. Thunder was being trained, she said. To do what? Emma remembered Rowan's obsessive behavior reports. Not to become unreliable. She looked toward Adrian. To look unreliable at the right moment. They pulled the route for the Founders' Procession. 3 sections stood out immediately. Church bells near the Eastern Avenue, an echoing stone passage, and ceremonial drums in the central square. "Noise triggers," Mason said. Emma's stomach tightened. If someone repeatedly paired those sounds with pain, Thunder could learn to react to them. Adrian understood the danger. Emma looked again at the route. "You need to cancel the procession." "I may." "May." Adrian met her stare. "A king publicly cancels a national ceremony only after knowing the threat is real. And a horse gets hurt while everyone waits for certainty." Silence followed. Emma expected anger. Adrian instead folded the map. "Then help me find certainty." Thunder supplied the next clue before nightfall. When distant bells rang for evening prayer, he did not simply startle. He turned toward Emma, then toward the eastern gate of the stable grounds, and he pulled against his halter as if remembering a road he desperately did not want to travel. Emma asked to follow Thunder's memory, but only on his terms. The next morning, she fitted him with a plain halter and walked toward the eastern gate. Mason accompanied her. Adrian and Lucas followed several yards behind. "No saddle. No bells." At the gate, Emma stopped. Thunder could choose. Emma felt Thunder slow before she even saw it. At the far end stood a hanging metal plate, an old drum, and a wooden frame holding several bells. "There's your certainty." Recent hoofprints covered the grass. Near a hitching rail, Emma found a dark stain carrying the herbal smell Thunder feared. Beneath a loose board, he found leather strips pierced with narrow holes matching the one made in Thunder's girth. Only 2 existed in the royal stable. The other had been issued personally to Rowan. Drum response. Each was followed by notes about Thunder's behavior. One line made Adrian's face go still. Central drum response improving. Increased discomfort next session. Emma turned away from the page. She placed a hand against Thunder's neck. He wasn't trying to make Thunder fail an inspection. "No," Adrian said. He wanted him to react during the procession. The plan finally made sense. Rowan had been building official records describing Thunder as increasingly unpredictable. During the Founders' Procession, conditioned sounds would trigger a public reaction. Adrian would be forced to retire Thunder from ceremonial duty, and Valor would replace him. Rowan's brother would gain enormous prestige and money. If the public incident injured someone, Rowan apparently considered that an acceptable risk. "And me?" Emma asked. "You became useful when Rowan needed someone blamed for the physical evidence." Emma shook her head. "Why me specifically?" A voice answered from behind them. "Because Thunder trusted you." Caleb stood between 2 guards. Rowan noticed weeks ago. Thunder was calmer when Emma worked near him. If people saw that, Rowan's reports about Thunder becoming uncontrollable would look suspicious. Emma remembered Rowan watching her brush Thunder during her second week at the castle. "So he chose me because I was helping him?" Caleb lowered his eyes. "He chose you because he said no one would believe you." The sentence landed harder than Emma expected. Adrian's expression changed. Caleb continued before Rowan could be brought to confront him. He admitted purchasing the silver pins on Rowan's orders, but he denied planting evidence in Emma's room. Rowan said someone in the servant's office would handle that. Mrs. Bell, Emma said. Her employment records were there. So was her signature. Bell confessed before sunset. Rowan had paid her to place the pins beneath Emma's mattress and copy Emma's signature into the stable ledger. He told me she would only be dismissed. He said she had no family here. No one would make trouble. Emma stared at her. That made it easier? Mrs. Adrian stepped forward, but Emma lifted one hand. You knew I had nowhere to go, and that was the reason you agreed. Mrs. Emma felt something inside her settle. It made people like Rowan believe she could disappear without consequence. I won't disappear for you, she said. Adrian heard every word. Back at the castle, guards went to arrest Rowan. Rowan had escaped through the northern gate on a chestnut gelding named Copper. Wait, Emma said. The river rose last night. Lucas nodded. So, Copper hates deep water. He won't cross the north bridge if the current is high. Adrian looked at her. Where would Rowan go? Emma pictured the old roads around the castle. West. Toward the mill road. Lucas changed the pursuit immediately. 2 hours later, Rowan was found exactly there. When Rowan was returned under guard, his eyes found Emma first. All this, he said bitterly, because a stable girl couldn't mind her place. Emma stood beside Thunder's stall. She no longer lowered her eyes. No, because you thought my place meant I could never tell the truth. Rowan's capture solved the question of escape, not the question of public truth. By morning, the castle was drowning in competing rumors. Some claimed Emma had invented the entire plot to gain the king's attention. Others said Adrian had arrested a respected stable master solely on the word of an Omega servant. Rowan's allies quietly encouraged both stories. People believed the accusation against me in minutes, she said while standing beside Thunder's stall. They'll need weeks to believe the correction. Adrian leaned against the stall door. The court will establish the facts. The court can clear my name on paper. That doesn't mean the kitchen stops going silent when I walk in. Adrian knew she was right. What do you want? Emma looked surprised. You're asking me? I have been trying to do that more often. She considered her answer. I don't want a performance. Meaning, don't make Thunder prove I'm innocent. That should be enough. Adrian nodded slowly. Then tomorrow's procession will not be a trial. The founder's procession could not proceed normally. Thunder would not carry Adrian through the noise triggers. But canceling everything would allow Rowan's supporters to claim the king feared his own evidence. Adrian decided to convert the opening ceremony into a public statement before continuing the procession on foot. Thunder would appear only if Mason and Emma believed he was comfortable. Thunder stiffened. Emma immediately stopped brushing him. You don't have to prove anything tomorrow, she whispered. Neither do you. Emma turned. I thought kings were supposed to announce themselves. I'm learning that people speak more honestly when I don't. That sounds dangerous. For a king. For everyone around him. Adrian smiled. I owe you an apology. Emma waited. When the barbs were found in your room, I confined you before I had tested the evidence. You thought I might have done it. Yes. She appreciated the answer because he did not soften it. Why did you change your mind? I didn't. Not immediately. Emma frowned. Then what changed? You kept giving me observations that could be checked. Rowan kept giving me conclusions that protected himself. Adrian looked toward Thunder. And you never once asked me to believe you because you were afraid. You asked me to look. Emma rested her hand on the stall door. Being believed would have been easier. I know. Do you? Adrian met her eyes. Probably not as well as I should. That answer mattered more than a perfect apology. Emma wore a simple gray dress provided by the housekeeper. Adrian noticed. You can remain inside. Emma looked at him. Would you? No, then neither will I. That was not a challenge. Good, because I wasn't asking permission. Adrian's mouth almost curved into a smile. You have changed since arriving here. No, Emma looked toward the square. I think I stopped pretending to be smaller. The ceremony began. Adrian walked onto the palace steps without Thunder. Rowan stood under guard near the courthouse entrance, awaiting formal transfer. Adrian explained the investigation plainly. He described the forged signature, the planted barbs, the unauthorized compound, the conditioned noise triggers, the financial connection to Valor, the hidden training field, and the confessions already obtained. He did not exaggerate Thunder's role. An animal cannot testify in a court, Adrian said, but behavior can direct human attention toward evidence. That is what happened here. Then Mason entered the square with Thunder. Emma remained near the palace steps. Thunder saw her. Thunder walked directly toward Emma. Emma closed her eyes for 1 second. The proof already existed. It was trust. Thunder saw him. Emma felt the tension travel through his body before anyone else noticed. You're safe. Thunder moved behind her. Not dramatically. He simply placed Emma between himself and Rowan. Thousands of people saw it. Rowan stopped walking, and the lie that had begun inside a quiet stable finally collapsed in public. The crowd did not cheer immediately. For several seconds, there was only silence as people absorbed what they had seen. Thunder, supposedly injured by Emma, had chosen her for safety when the man accused of conditioning his fear appeared. Adrian did not allow the moment to become a spectacle. Rowan Hale will be judged by evidence, he said. Not by the reaction of a horse and not by the anger of a crowd. Then he looked toward Emma. The same standard should have been given to Emma Reed from the beginning. That sentence moved through the square differently than any royal proclamation. Adrian was not merely declaring her innocent. This scheme depended on one belief, he continued. That belief made the crime possible. Emma felt Thunder's breath against her shoulder. Instead, it felt heavier. Some even began saying her name. Adrian seemed to understand. Rowan was transferred to the courthouse. Thunder returned to the stable with Emma and Mason. You were right, Adrian said behind her. About what? A public performance would not have proven your innocence. Emma rubbed Thunder's forehead. But I think people finally understood what their assumptions looked like. Emma turned toward him. Will they remember? Some won't. Then what changes? Adrian had already considered that question. She entered the council chamber wearing her stable clothes. Rowan exploited 3 weaknesses, he said. Animal welfare concerns could bypass the stable hierarchy. Your Majesty, we are restructuring royal procedure because 1 Omega was falsely accused? Emma felt every eye turn toward her. No. We are restructuring it because a senior official nearly engineered a dangerous public incident by exploiting weaknesses we now know exist. Another noble gestured toward Emma. And what role does she have in this discussion? Adrian looked at Emma instead of answering for her. Tell him. She had not expected that. Rowan was able to hurt Thunder because stable records measured obedience, not welfare. It rarely asked why. The noble frowned. And you propose what? Someone independent of trainers and the stable master should be allowed to stop work when an animal shows pain or distress. A veterinarian already exists. Mason spoke from the opposite side of the table. I treat animals when I am called. Emma is suggesting someone whose daily job is observing them before a problem becomes medical. Adrian nodded. Exactly. Emma looked at him. I did not plan your answer. And who would do this job? Adrian's eyes held hers. You. Emma went still. I cleaned stalls. You identified Thunder's pain before trained staff did. And you stopped us from treating behavior as proof when it was only evidence worth investigating. The council chamber had become silent. Emma's first instinct was to refuse because people like her did not receive royal appointments. I would need training, she said. I can provide it. And authority to stop a session. Adrian nodded. Within defined welfare standards. And reports cannot be altered by the stable master. Agreed. One counselor muttered. She negotiates like an alpha. Emma heard him. No. I negotiate like someone who knows the job. Adrian did smile then. When Emma returned to Thunder, she carried the written appointment in both hands. Apparently you got me promoted, she told him. Of course that's all you care about. Adrian stopped outside the stall. He has excellent priorities. Emma handed Thunder the apple, then looked at the king. For the first time, Neither rank nor accusation stood between them. Something quieter had taken its place. Respect. And perhaps the beginning of something neither of them was ready to name. Thunder's physical wound healed within weeks. The fear Rowan had taught him took longer. Emma began her new position under Mason's supervision, and her first major responsibility was the horse who had helped clear her name. She refused to rush him. Bells were introduced from far across the training yard, soft enough that Thunder could hear them without feeling trapped. Days later, a quiet drum was added. Emma recorded not only whether Thunder obeyed but how he stood, where he looked, whether his muscles tightened, and how quickly he recovered. Adrian read every report. One cold morning he found Emma sitting on the fence while Thunder grazed. Your report says he did nothing for 20 minutes. Correct. That is the entire session? Yes. And this is progress? Emma looked at him. He heard the bells and decided grass was more important. Adrian considered Thunder, who was enthusiastically proving her point. Remarkable courage. The bravest. Their conversations became easier. After that, Adrian began visiting the stable without an official reason. Emma noticed but did not mention it. He asked about Thunder, then about the other horses, then occasionally about her. Trust developed in smaller ways. Adrian asked instead of assuming. Emma disagreed without apologizing. He allowed Emma to defend her expertise. Rowan's trial concluded before winter. The court found him guilty of fraud, falsification of royal records, evidence tampering, mistreatment of Thunder, and reckless endangerment. Caleb received a reduced sentence because he cooperated after his arrest, but he was barred from royal service. Belle was dismissed after admitting her role in framing Emma. Emma attended only the first day. Her future mattered more. Servants received lockable storage. Stable welfare reports became separate from performance reports. Some whispered that Emma had gained influence because the king favored her. Adrian expected anger. Instead, Emma asked, "Do they say Mason got his job because you favor him?" "No." "Then I suppose the problem isn't your favor." Adrian laughed. "You make royal politics sound simple." "No." By early winter, Thunder could stand calmly while bells rang near the yard. Emma checked Thunder's saddle before Adrian approached. She had repaired the section where Rowan's barb had been inserted, but she still inspected it twice. Adrian noticed. "Ready?" Emma did not answer him. She looked at Thunder. "He is." "That wasn't my question." Emma looked up. "Then ask the person you're planning to ride." Adrian smiled and mounted. Thunder walked one slow circuit of the yard. Thunder's ears turned toward the sound. Emma held her breath. No panique. When Adrian returned, he dismounted quietly. It was the moment fear stopped deciding what came next. Adrian handed Emma the reins. "He did well." "So did you." "Was I being evaluated?" "Always." Adrian laughed, then became serious. "Emma." She waited. "You also reopened the investigation." "Both can be true." Emma studied him. Adrian seemed to understand that correcting a mistake did not make the mistake disappear. "Yes," she said. "Both can be true." He nodded. Thunder nudged Emma between them, searching. "Again for treats. You have terrible timing." Adrian looked at her. "I'm not sure I agree." Emma felt warmth rise in her face. For once she did not look away. Beyond them, the bell moved again in the winter wind. Thunder heard it and remained exactly where he wanted to be. By the following spring, Emma no longer entered rooms hoping no one would notice her. She had learned that visibility carried risks, but invisibility carried its own price. Her 6-month trial as Royal Equine Welfare Keeper became a permanent appointment after Mason submitted a report showing fewer preventable injuries across the royal stable. Even the counselors who had doubted her stopped arguing when the numbers arrived. Adrian said nothing triumphant. He simply handed Emma the permanent appointment. "You could at least pretend this was a difficult decision." "It was." Emma looked up. "Mason wanted to give you more authority than I did." She laughed before realizing he was joking. "That was terrible. I am a king. I have had little opportunity to improve." Their relationship had changed without either of them forcing it into a declaration. Adrian no longer saw a frightened servant when he looked at Emma. Emma had spent weeks observing him around bells, crowds, banners, and drums. No one had forced him through fear. Well, he asked. Ask him. Adrian placed a hand on the stallion's neck. He appears to approve. Then try not to embarrass him. You speak to your king with remarkable confidence. You promoted me. A serious administrative error. Emma smiled and stepped back. Adrian mounted. Stable workers. Emma walked beside Mason. She had refused that description. Emma Reed, Royal Equine Welfare Keeper. Applause rose from part of the square. Months earlier, that sound had been designed to turn Thunder's fear into a public disaster. His ears moved toward the drums. Emma watched his breathing. Loose. Forward. As Thunder passed the stable staff, he saw Emma. Thunder stepped several feet out of formation, walked to Emma, and touched his nose to her shoulder. You're supposed to be working. Thunder nudged her again. Yes, I know. Very impressive. Adrian looked down at her. He appears unwilling to follow protocol. Perhaps he learned that from me. That concerns me deeply. Their eyes met. The moment lasted only a second, but Emma saw the smile Adrian was trying to hide. Go on, she whispered to Thunder. The procession continued toward the avenue where church bells rang above the rooftops. She would have thought Thunder had saved her. His behavior had directed investigators toward evidence no human had noticed. He had communicated the only way he could. That lesson reached far beyond the stable. He believed a horse's fear could be manufactured and dismissed as bad behavior. Emma remained in the square after the procession passed. Miss Reed. Emma is fine. The girl hesitated. There's a mare in the west stable. Everyone says she's stubborn, but she keeps lifting her right front foot when they tighten her saddle. Emma looked toward the castle. Show me. They walked back together. She would test what could be tested. Behind her, bells rang over the Capitol while Thunder carried Adrian through the crowd without fear. Emma smiled and continued toward the stable. The truth had never needed a powerful voice. It had only needed someone willing to notice when the quietest witness in the kingdom was trying to speak.